Our own brain. The most mysterious, wonderful and powerful thing that exists in the entire universe. Our powerful brain, it's divided into two parts. Our conscious brain or our mind, and our subconscious. They say that we only use 15% of our brain, the other 85% it's our subconscious. And that's where the magic is. Everything comes from inside our brain, our thoughts, our ideas, our dreams, our projects, our imagination, our movements, our words and our actions. Everything comes from our own mind. Our conscious brain. Consciousness is knowing, feeling, recognizing, realizing and to be aware. That you have a body, that you think, that you move, that you feel. It's to be aware of what you are, and that you are alive. We use our conscious mind since the moment that we wake up, and we use it most of our time, to think, to move, to communicate, to solve problems, to plan, to talk, to drive, to eat, to repair, to dress, to walk, to build, daydream, to travel, to write, to imagine, to relating to others, to learn and to teach, to speak, to solve extremely complicated problems, to invent and create such wonderful and amazing things, and an infinity of things that we can do, with our mind. Our conscious brain, it's the one that we use when we are awake. Our conscious mind, it's the one that we use, as soon we wake up. When we are conscious, many believes, that they have the full control of their conscious brain, of their mind. Because according to them, they know perfectly well what it's exactly what they are thinking. And they believe that the subconscious does not exist and does not serve them, and they pay no attention to it. And they do not give it the priority that deserves, and perhaps it is true, but not at all. Because our mind, our conscious brain, it's not the one that keeps us alive. If they had the full control of their brain as they say, then they would have to tell their heart when to beat, how much blood has to send with each beat, when the lungs have to breathe, how and when the stomach and the liver have to function, etc. All these primordial functions are perfectly performed by our subconscious. Likewise, when we sleep, our conscious mind turns off, and our subconscious takes the control. Everything that we want and desire comes from our conscious mind, but it is our subconscious that really it will make them true. Our subconscious. But our conscious mind, it's only 15% of our brain, and even so, you can see all the amazing and wonderful things that we can do. The other 85% it's our subconscious. And that's where the magic is. Everything goes to our brain. Everything that we observe. Everything that we see. Everything that we feel. What we touch, everything that we hear, everything that we smell, everything that we taste, everything what we perceive, everything that we learn, everything that we hear, everything that we see, everything that we taste, everything that we touch, everything that we feel, all the sounds, all the colors, all the shapes, all the forms, all the brightness, all the shadows, all the silhouettes, all the scents, all the smells, all the odors, all the tastes, all the flavors, all the music, all the singing, all the textures, all the symbols, all the contrast, and all this comes into our wonderful, marvelous and powerful brain. And everything it's concentrated in our brain. And our marvelous, wonderful and powerful brain, try to identify and understand it. Our marvelous and wonderful brains, starts to associate them with two factors. Pleasure, or pain. Our wonderful brain associates all what we see, what we touch, all that we taste, all that we smell and everything that we perceive with pleasure or pain. And our wonderful brain try to understand everything that we receive through our senses. It tries to understand what it is. And how does it make us feel? That's why our magnificent brain associates all the things that we seen, that we hear, that we feel, that we smell, that we scent and what we taste. With how do that make us feel? Does it makes us feels good or bad? Does it makes us gives us pleasure? Does it hurts? Does it make us feel bad? Does it make us feel good? Does it make us feel pleasure? Does it make us feel pain? And all that make us feel good, and what give us pleasure. Our magnificent brain looks for that, all the time. And our brain rejects and avoid all that it's dangerous for ourselves. Our brain always avoid what gives us pain. And what makes us feel bad and sad. That's the primary work of our magnificent brain. All the information that we receive, all of it, it's processed in our magnificent brain. And we created memories. And the memories that we create, it's not only on what we see. Each one of our memories are a combination of all of our senses. That means that each one of our memories have the information of our five senses. that each one of our memories has the information of what we have seen, what sounds does that have, what was the smell and the odor, what we have touch, and what that makes us feel, and what taste leave in our mouth. Each one of our memories, each one, has all this information associate. And our brain always tries to look for the things that makes us feel more pleasure. And our brain always tries to avoid and reject all that has make us feel disgust, pain and disgust. To protect us. And to look for pleasure, gratification, satisfaction, rewards, complacency, enjoyment and thrill. Our wonderful, magnificent and powerful brain, it's incredible. All that we see in it also analyze all that we see, hear, touch, taste and smells. What makes us feel pain? Our brain associates that with electrical impulses. Our brain it's electric. The electric impulses that our brain receive, it's the intensity of the pain or the pleasure. So I think that there are two kind of electric frequencies. But also they are chemicals that determines the pain or the pleasure that our brain receive. Such as adrenaline, oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine and dopamine. Our wonderful can creates this chemical substances that create in us an extremely feel of pain or pleasure. The pain and the pleasure are a combination of electrical and chemical impulses. Our brain doesn't really feel the pain and the pleasure. Our brain associates the electric impulses that received, and our brain releases the chemical and electric impulses that makes us feel pain or pleasure. This means that our brain creates the pain or the pleasure with electric and chemical impulses according to what does he perceives. According to the situation. That means that when we burn our finger with a candle, our brain it's not the one that hurts. But our brain receive the information from the skin in our finger through our nerves. And depending on the intensity of the electric impulse that he receive, our brain associates with pain. And our brain keep that memory and it associates with the smell, the sound, and with the image of the candle and the feel of pain. All this information it's stored in that memory. And every time that we see a candle, our brain will bring that memory, and it will avoid touching the flame of the candle to avoid the pain, the suffering and that unpleasant event. But also, our instincts have a very special and powerful. It's very possible that our brain doesn't really feel the pain. Our brain receive the information from our senses through electric impulses. And our brain associate this electric impulses to determine pain or pleasure. That it's not really that our brain feel pain. That our brain associates the electric impulses that he received in. And this means that our brain doesn't feel the pain. But that our brain does creates the pleasure through electric impulses and chemical substances. I mean that our brain creates and maintain the pleasure inside. That our brain doesn't really feel the pain. But that our brain does create and maintain the pleasure. Our magnificent and powerful brain process an incredible amount of information. As a computer, our brain it's the processor. Our brain process all the information that he receives. And process all the information according to our memories. Our brain process all the information that we receive through our sense. What we hear, what we see, what we smell, what we taste, and what we touch. Our brain process all the information that he receives. But also our brain creates an extremely amount of information. Ideas, words, projects, solutions, actions, sounds and movements. Base in our memories, our teachings, our experiences, our instincts, and our sixth sense. Trough our ideas, words, actions and movements. According with our memories. According with our experiences. Also our instincts. But it seems that a lot of the information that our brain receive, it comes from far beyond of our senses. It's like if our brain, it's connected to a universal network. Not only on this planet. Because it's like our cell phone, it has to connect it to a network, to the internet, in order to see videos and download apps and everything. Our cell phone has to be connected to a network to make calls and transmit and receive voice, sounds, images and information. A cell phone without connection to others in a network. It's useless. It's really amazing, incredible, impressive, magnificent and overwhelming. All that we can create with our brain. With our magnificent and powerful brain. With our powerful and magnificent brain. Our brain, it's capable to analyze and understand our current situation and events. But it's also capable of creating future situations and events. All the physical objects that we can create. But also that our brain, it's capable of creating entire worlds, and you'll live in there. With the powerful and holy power of our imagination. Our dreams. Our ideas. It's really unlimited all that our brain can imagine and creates. It's really no limit to our brain. It's really no limit what we can create and imagine with our brain. It's no limits. But also creates new ideas. It's also capable to perceive, more than what our senses perceive. It also perceive the energies and forces that came from the entire universe. That our brain, it's capable to control the atoms that form and that are near. That our brain can manipulate all the energies of the entire universe. That our brain generate too much energy. It's amazing. But the problem's it's that we think that we can control everything with our brain. But nobody can controls everything, not even God. But we can manipulate everything with our powerful brain. We can manipulate all the energies and forces in the entire universe. Everyone. But it could be that our brain it's not only ours. It could be that it's part of something else. Our brain, it's capable to see what we don't see. It's able to hear what we don't hear. It's able to feel what we are not touching. It's able to know what we don't know. That's our sixth sense. Some people say that sometimes we say and do things that we don't think. But that it's not true. Because everything that we say and do, first, comes from our mind. All of our actions, all of our words, all of our movements, all of our feelings, all of our dreams, all of our desires, first, comes from our brain, from our mind. Inside out. Everything that we do and think, first, comes from inside our mind, out to the entire universe. Inside out. Inside from our brain, to the entire universe. We are the only ones responsible for all of our acts and words. Our brain should be prioritized, because everything comes and goes from our brain. It is not that our body it's not important, of course our entire body it's very important, but every feeling and sensation that we receive goes to our brain. It is as if God were inside our brain. It is as if we were gods and goddesses. We are just as important as God. We are equally important to the powerful and wonderful force of life. Just like God, we are not less important than God. Our brain not only controls our body, it is as if our brain is connected to the entire universe. When we understand and accept that, we are not only the clothes that we wear, the car that we drive, the appearance of our face and body, what we own, or what we do not have. That we are so much more than that. That we really are divine energy beings, with a physical body. I can affirm that our brain it's holy. Our heart, our brain, our mind and our subconscious. And that we are connected with this entire and wonderful planet, and to all the life on the entire universe. That we are connected to the entire universe. Then we could achieve everything. Also, it's extremely important that you feel good, satisfied, and proud of your body. That's why it's extremely important and a right to have the gender and the body that we want so much. To feel good about our own body. It's extremely important to have the gender and the body that we want. Because that will make us feel good and happy. Because our own body and our mind, it's the most important thing that we have. I know there are many people, including myself, who have been searching for God for a long time. And I have searched for God, in many temples and in many religions. But the truth is that God is not in any temple, nor in heaven. God it's within ourselves. God it's inside of us.